at that time. You know, Cal goes from NBA to Memphis, and then they have their years. You know, he brings in D-Wag, and he has Antonio Burks, and they have some rocky years a little bit. They do well, then they do bad, and then he comes upon all 4 years. How was that? Like, did his demeanor change as a coach? Like the arrogance and things of that nature? Like, how was that dealing with him?
I never really saw him change too much. And you're right. People outside of Memphis forget this, but those first few years were rocky. I mean, you know, the first year he inherited a whatever roster, and, you know, they were not supposed to be good. But in year two, he had Wani, he had Burks, he had Kelly Wise, Scooter McFadden, Anthony Rice, Earl Barron, Chris Massey. Like, that team was supposed to be awesome. And it just wasn't. It was pretty good for a while. Then, if I remember correctly, Kelly got hurt, and then they just sort of spiraled. They ended up in the NIT. I think they had like 3 NBA players on that roster, and they ended up in the NIT. And then, like, I think the first 5 years were not great. And I can remember, this is funny now, because, you know, people would be like, I can't believe we're paying this guy $1 million. And now he makes like $10 million. But it was like, he was not popular from day one. And then when you guys got there, the entire program just flipped. I mean, they went from struggling to make the NCAA tournament, struggling to advance in the tournament, to barely losing at all. And I genuinely don't remember him changing too much along the way. Like, he and I had our battles. Like, you know, we cuss each other out on the phone. You know, we went one year where we didn't speak outside of a press conference setting for like 2 months. But ultimately, even when he thought I was wrong or I thought he was wrong, we always worked it out. You know, like, and he never really held a like it was his decision whether I could be in practice or not every day, obviously. And even when I did things he didn't like, he would still, like, you know, the door was still open. You know, he only shut practices down a handful of times the entire time I was there. And he had a unique ability to where I even if I knew privately he was pissed about something, whether he should have been or not, he just was. If I was then in a press conference and I asked him a question, you know, sometimes like Russell Westbrook will be like, no comment, or next question. He won't even talk to the person. Cal never did that to me. You know, in a public setting, he was always professional. And, you know, obviously, you know, now I haven't seen him in a while because of the pandemic, but every time I see him, like, it's good. You know, like, I remember when Bradley was a baby running around the Fence Center. You know, I watched Aaron and Megan grow up. I've known Ellen since, I mean, geez, it's 20 years now. I saw Ellen last season at the Garden, and we spent, 10 minutes together talking. John was around when my first son was born. So I don't want to overstate it. We don't have family get-togethers, but when we see each other, it's pleasant. And when I see Megan or Aaron or any of them, it's always a good time.
How was that for you? I heard a story that you were on a private jet to Bristol one time with Coach Cal. How was that?
Oh, that was fun. So I don't even know that he really wanted me to go, but it was one of those deals where, Memphis played on a Saturday and they didn't have a game until the next Saturday. So somebody at ESPN was like, hey, you want to come, talking to Cal, you want to come be in studio? We got a doubleheader on Tuesday night. You could be our special halftime analyst, all that. He's like, sure. And, Cal, he's like, get me a plane. I'll be there. So they get him a plane, and he sort of randomly to me, because I was like, so what are you up to the rest of the week? We were just talking, like after practice or something. He said, well, tomorrow I'm flying up to Bristol. I'm going to be in studio ESPN for their doubleheader. He goes, hey, if you want to go, you should go. And I was like, okay, I'll go. so then he was locked in. So it was me, Cal, Rockefort, and somebody else. I think there was 4 of us. So we flew to Bristol, get in the car, or we flew to Hartford, got in the car, went to Bristol. And it was fascinating watching him, because the whole time he's working on what he's going to say. And he's really doubling down on, graduation rates and GPAs. And he keeps talking like to himself, almost like he's rehearsing. he keeps saying, you know, when I got to Memphis, we had this percent graduation rate. Now every player I've had for 4 years has graduated. We're on track to do ABC. You know how he is. And at some point, I think Rock asked him, so are they talking to you about graduation rates in the middle of a Cincinnati UAB game? And this is perfect, Cal. He said, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. And if I'm on national television and I want to get a message across, then I'm going to get that message across. And sure enough, you know, it's like I don't remember who was playing, but he had already called Hugs on the way and was like, I'm gonna pump you guys up on ESPN tonight and talk about your graduation rates and how good they are relative to the perception. So sure enough, they're at like halftime of a random game. And somebody's like, so, John, before we get back out to, you know, Purdue, whatever, you know, real quick about your Memphis team this season. You guys are off to whatever start. He's like, yeah, you know, we're really, you know, we got a long to go, got some young kids, but we're playing well. But I'll tell you what I'm most proud of is that these kids really do it in the classroom. I mean, our GPA right now is 3.8. Everybody is on track to graduate, some early. And, you know, I know sometimes historically our school gets a bad label for that kind of stuff, but you know, we are on the right track academically. Cincinnati, by the way, with Bob Huggins, is also like graduating all their players. I know the statistics don't show it, but like if you look at who they got, if they graduate, they're doing it right at Cincinnati too. And so that's one of the proudest things I am about, you know, our league is, you know, the way we're not just winning basketball games, that's easy, but we are developing these young men into students who are going to graduate and are going to be productive citizens. Like he just took it wherever he wanted to take it. And then we get right back in the car after the night and he calls Hugs. He's like, I told you I was going to do that shit. And so and that is Cal. Like you can still to this day get him at a press conference on Zoom, wherever you get him. You can ask whatever questions you want. He will say what he wants to say. Your questions are merely a setup for him to say what he wants to say.